morning, everybody. We are now about to start our inaugural function of the 51st Annual General Meeting. Our Chief Guest, Ambassador of India, His Excellency Mr. Ranjit Ray, is already here with us on the dais. Om. Bhakratunda Mahakaya Surya Koti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kurumete Sarvakajeshu Sharvada. She is going to be the Master of Ceremony MC.
A very warm welcome and good morning to everyone. Now, moving on. First of all, I would like to call our President, Mr. Lingu, for his welcome speech.
Chief Guest, His Excellency, the Ambassador of the Republic of India, Mr. Ranjit Ray, Natta Advisor, Mr. Prachandra Pastor, Officiating CEO, NTB, Mrs. Nandani Lai Haber, respected past presidents and members of the advisory board of Natta, high-level tourism dignitaries from the Ministry of Culture, Tourism and Civil Aviation, Government of Nepal, professionals, colleagues and representatives of media, ladies and gentlemen. At the outset, I would like to begin with my humble expression of warm welcome to you all at this August inaugural ceremony of the 51st Annual General Meeting of Nepal Association of Tours and Travels Agents, Natta. We are an association of the professionals in the tour and travel business that has a long history of its establishment dating back to 1966. Ever since, we have been having our annual general meeting to apprise our members of the activities accomplished during the tenure of office of the Executive Board. When we started, we were only 15 in number, and now the number of general members in Natta is 550 plus, besides the ones in various other regional associations and the chapter in Pokhara, Kakarvita, Dhangali and Palpa. So in total we are approximately 800 travel agencies and tour operators. Our common objective has been interallied to provide the best of professional service in our and travel sectors with integrity, solidarity and commitment for quality service with dedication and professionalism to uphold national tourism. We received only a few thousand visitors when Nepal was first opened up for visitors in 1951, and now we are receiving more than 800,000 visitors annually and have further targeted of raising this figure to millions in the years to come. Paradoxically, the record of 2012 showed 15 million Indian tourists travel outbound. UNWTO estimated that India will account for 50 million outbound visitors by 2020. The number one destination is found to be Thailand with 1 million tourists from India in the same year, whereas in 2012 Nepal received only 165 Indian tourists despite of the proximity, culture, similarities and no hassles in immigration, language, legal tenders. Changes are inevitable for the economic growth of the nation. We have always welcomed the changes for the betterment of the national livelihood and have adopted the impeccable gift of modern technology to provide optimum facilities to our clients. Nevertheless, we accept our pace has been what the people call snail's pace. The reasons are none but the challenges have been facing in the business, often hindered by the lack of appropriate national policies and regulations, as well as the instability in the government. Though in the recent years, the South Asia Association for the Regional Cooperation SAC sought beautiful dreams in regards to the promotion of the regional cooperation. Nothing concrete, the meaningful has so far been realized. We are still looking forward to the implementation of the concept bridging connectivity in of existing animosities between our friendly countries, wider range of brotherhood and cooperation, eradications of the poverty and terrorism, and deeper understanding among the SAARC nations in making tourism real backbone of our economy. Your Excellency, we would like to avail of this opportunity to extend our most sincere thanks and gratitude to the Government of India for enlisting Nepal as one of the destinations in the Lead Concessions Plan of India. We believe this will surely enhance the figure of Indian tourists coming to Nepal, and India will show up again as the highest number of tourists generating market for Nepal. Your Excellency, Nepal is so rich in her tourism potentialities, but to our utter chagrin, we have been running short of basic infrastructures like tourist bus terminal in the capital city, as well as in some of the major urban centers frequented by the visitors, despite of our utmost effort to have them urgently. Similarly, the issue of the constructing fast track connecting Lumbini and Pokhara, which has remained long overdue, could have gone a long way in luring increased number of tourists in Pokhara and neighboring attractions. Another point which we would like to focus here is the need of tourism contact between Nepal and India on a regular basis. At least one in a year. Few years ago, India had convened one involving the participation of industry stakeholders of the SAARC nations, and it could never since get repeated. Tourism contracts are sure to create immense potentialities in highlighting the status of tourism economy in all the nations participating through mutual exchange and sharing of experience. I also have the honor to say that Natta in Hungary, our Fast-West Regional Association, has been working very hard to establish tourism-friendly relations with the Uttaranchal Pradesh in India, and are sure to reap the fruit if something could be done to make the potential Indian visitors to the religious sites of the region to use Hungary Airport. Your Excellency, before I conclude my welcome speech, may I be permitted to once more say that you have really honored the travel trade industry of Nepal with your gracious presence at these functions and made us more optimistic and enthusiastic in exploring the possibilities of further cooperation and support in promoting tourism at people's level. Government can change their policies and programs, but not the individual hearts of our peoples and the glorious past history, manifesting our close friendship and the spirit of brotherhood that have been sustaining so happily through the centuries. Finally, Natta welcomes you. Long live Nepal-India friendship. Thank you so much.
Natta, leading Travel Trade Association, for completing a successful 51 years of sterling service to its members and the travel trade industry of Nepal. Since the inception of NTB 16 years back, we have had the pleasure to partner with the Natta for many international and domestic tourism promotion programs, and we hope to make the bond stronger in the years to come. I would also like to take this opportunity to thank the Travel Trade Fraternity members for their unstinting support to help NTB get back on track. It was definitely not easy with many internal and external challenges and problems. There are still many unresolved issues within the NTB and the tourism sector, but the path to recovery has begun. Together, we look forward to new dynamism, vision, and momentum in taking Nepal's tourism to the next level. We are aware of the upcoming opportunities and challenges in the future and acknowledge our greater responsibility as a catalyst of public-private enterprise for bringing together diverse stakeholders to forge a strong alliance among them for constructive progress. The year 2015 has definitely begun on a positive note. The NSE is finally getting its new airplane. There are 6 new international airlines that will be flying in shortly. The present online carriers are increasing the number of flights into the country. The expansion of the Gautam Buddha airport is underway, and new international chain hotels are under construction. So we are very hopeful that in the near future we will be adding and making a big leap in the much needed carrying capacity and infrastructure in the country. Taking advantage of His Excellency's presence with us today, I would like to thank the Indian Embassy for the initiatives you have taken constantly in the past and present to help promote Nepal's tourism in India. In cooperation with the private sector, the Nepal Tourism Board is intensifying promotional activities in India through travel trade fairs, sales missions, fan trips of media and tour operators, guerrilla campaigns, and consumer marketing. And we are keeping our fingers crossed that the Indian government's proposal to include Nepal in the leave travel concession policy for government employees materializes. And that would be a watershed moment for Nepalese tourism. So thank you, Your Excellency, for all your support. Tourism, as we all know, today is one of the largest and fastest growing economic sectors, slated to be the largest employer globally in the near future. Tourism is expanding its ABCs, activities, businesses, and choices exponentially, and right from the bottom of the ocean to the top of Mount Everest. And of course, Sir Richard Branson has not spared even the moon, where a tourist can go and have a holiday. Over the past 6 decades, the global tourism has experienced continued expansion and diversification, and despite occasional dips, tourism arrivals have grown virtually uninterrupted, from 25 million in 1950 to $1 billion plus in 2014. The Indian and the Chinese outbound tourism is booming like never before. According to the UNWTO, by the year 2020, 100 million outbound Chinese will be the world's largest, most numerous travelers, followed by 50 million outbound Indian tourists, and China and India have become the #1 source market for all the countries. And Nepal, clearly positioned between the two potential markets, definitely seems to be in a happy place. And this is where NTB will be focusing its special attention. We are sometimes, I say, victims of a very strong brand, that's Mount Everest. And people think, and tourists and tour operators think that Nepal is only for the young, the sporty, the adventurous, and the sweaty. But, of course, our challenge today is to position and promote internationally that Nepal has much more to offer than just mountains. And we need to look at new segments, get out of the adventure sector only. We need to look at families, 3 generations traveling together, silvers, niche market, films, spiritual, aerial sports, volunteerism, and of course the very potential LGBT sector, and also strongly address the growing domestic market in Nepal. And of course, and I'm also very pleased to tell you that the Tourism Board, in wake of the recent avalanches that happened last year, we are also going to invest in a very high-tech early warning system that will help us at least mitigate, if not totally avoid, such disasters in the future. We need to together further augment our industry by the concerted efforts of all stakeholders to develop necessary physical infrastructure, skilled manpower, effective interlinkages, smooth connectivity, and proper positioning, marketing, and promotion of the products in both the domestic and the international market. And we need to increasingly adopt more environmentally friendly and sustainable tourism practices and policies in our approach. We have to re-energize, recharge, and realign our institutional goals. Our challenge today is not to only effectively communicate with our present and potential markets, but also to urgently identify, support to develop, and promote new tourism products and activities across the country so that a tourist, be it domestic or international, has more to do, spends more money, comes back more often, and goes in greater numbers. And this would be a great way to try and achieve our Vision 2020 goals in the future. And just like a motto says, together we can achieve. We are very confident that working together we are going to be achieving great new strides in the tourism sector. Today at the NTB, we are all the more conscious of the pressures of expectations for effective delivery upon us by the public, the private, and the people sector of this country. And internationally, we have to compete aggressively with almost 200 other destinations. It is a big task, but apparently, especially after the upheavals we have gone through, but I strongly believe that history has proved that after revolution comes evolution, and that is probably what is happening to the Tourism Board also. Now, after 16 years of existence, we are back to the drawing board, working out compliant cardiovithis, SOPs, and other basics. So that has slowed down our progress considerably. But once ready, the NTB will move ahead in the true spirit of public-private partnership based on a mutual bond of dedication, integrity, and respect for each other among all the three stakeholders, the government, the private sector, and the NTB. And that is one of our top priorities and a promise to you all today. Finally, I would once again like to congratulate Natta for celebrating its 51st anniversary, and we wish you great success in your endeavors in the future. Thank you.
It is indeed pride for all of us today to be here to celebrate the 51st annual general meeting, completing almost half of the century by this association in the travel industry of this country. We all know today that industry, whatever it may be, travel or anything else, are moving around the process of integration, not limiting their activities within a border or boundary of any country. That we call integration in the globalization process. Perhaps travel industry of this country is also faced to this challenge at this moment. So I do call it's a challenge at the crossroads for the travel industry in this country. How do we integrate and consolidate the past experience, gains as well as pains, to move ahead in this context of integration, to deliver dynamism in the market. And certainly, we can see the travel industry all over the world has been a very, very strong and powerful force in bringing the people, bringing the institutions, bringing the subsectors of different industry at the mainstream. And Nepalese travel is an industry that remain out of this mainstream. That's one of the major challenges we have to look forward. How are we going to integrate? And similarly in this context, growing competition among the travel industry of different destinations is one aspect. And in the meantime, to mitigate these competitive situations is the consolidation, partnership, joining hands. Normally we prefer to call strategic alliances. Perhaps Nepalese travel industry has to see and look forward. How can we join hands with the industry around the neighboring countries, including India and China. Perhaps all of you who are professional in this industry fully agree with me that Nepalese tourism industry substantially depends on the joint tool products either with India or with Tibetan parts of China. Almost, I could calculate, more than 40% of the arrivals of foreign tourists in this country are either combining motivation with Indian destinations or motivations with the Tibetan destinations. So in the days to come, we are sure travel industry, the business forum, is ever increasing. Perhaps it's going to be more than 400 billion US dollar by the end of this year. And in the meantime, market is shifting from the hands of the industry suppliers to the customers. What they use, what they want, what they are asking, how they are going to pay, and who are the customers. As Office CEO of NTB had just mentioned, the tremendous growth outbound from this part of the world, from China and India, has made the global map of tourism completely different, which we used to think a couple of years before. And almost if you talk about Nepal's context, the market share of Nepalese tourism is over 45% consists of these two neighboring countries. And I can cite the example of Maldives. Maldives is one of the destinations in our part of the region, South Asia. They never thought of the Indian or any South Asian or Chinese tourists motivating to them about the water resources or water sports-based activities and attractions. Can you see today one of the major components of the market happening with China? And one the comment I heard is Chinese tourists used to go there and they never go out in the water. They just stay in the resort and take the pictures. Once they go back, they say, I have been to Maldives. This is shifting experience or shifting motivational factors. It is not only the existence of the natural or cultural resources in any part of the world that can draw the motivation of the tourists, which normally, historically, Nepal used to expose. We do have tremendous amount of natural beauties or cultural assets, and that is to be dynamically changed in offering in the market for the customers. That is one of the major challenges in front of the travel industry in this country, I could see. And in the meantime, Nepalese travel industry is not only exposed to challenges abroad, it is not only global, it is not only regional. Within the country, domestically, they are faced to lead, to change the policy structure of the country by advocacy. And we are sure that for the advocacy, their united voice, their contributions among the industry players is very much of essential need, and at this point of crossroads is more than needed than any time else. So these are some of the challenges to go ahead for the future the Natta is going to face, and I'm pretty sure Natta is trying to see whether we are going to increase the number of forums or in the meantime trying to disperse in different parts of the world, different parts of the country, offering different diversity of the attractions, combining with their experience. They are going to deliver for the customers, or in the meantime, they are going to focus on the yield. So sometimes, always in tourism, we used to say there's a lot of confusion, cross-cutting, brainstorming issues we need to go through it. Whether we are trying to focus on the numbers, or we are trying to focus on the turnover, we are trying to focus on the yield, or we are trying to focus on different varieties of motivational elements. And in this context, I would like to share the opinion that the best approach for Nepal is how we can increase the integration. Instead of competing with each other in terms of destinations in South Asia, India, Nepal, Bangladesh, Bhutan, Sri Lanka, Maldives, why not to generate? We are trying to complement in terms of inter-regional market aspects. Europe with 27 countries have come together. Once they used to be one of the major forces of conflicting along the vertical lines. And we know that both the Great Wars, First and Second World War, even the Cold War happened to be generated from Europe. Today, from the economic interest, from the industrial perspective, they have come together joining hands, even getting one currency as euro. Why not to think in this line the travel industry can take the lead that's complementing each other with India, Bangladesh, Bhutan, China. And last time, I'm pretty sure that perhaps Nepal could be as an offer that gateway to the Himalayas. Gateway to the Himalayas means Nepal. They can come to Nepal, go to India, come back to Nepal, go to Pakistan, come back to Nepal, go to Bhutan, come come back to Nepal. These are some of the dynamism and elements the travel industry are facing the challenge. How we are going to consolidate all these two parts, combine whatever elements we do have, what are the dynamism expected by the customers in the market and in the changing phase globally. So to conclude, my opinion sharing with you is Nepal travel industry are supposed to focus within the country domestically, in the meantime try to explore how we can collaborate regionally and we can face the challenge globally coming as a force for this travel industry. And without the integration with the information technology, perhaps travel industry cannot move. And I have heard that 60% of the travel booking these days are online. And perhaps that's a great challenge for the travel industry too, because they still are using the word agents, and agents is a mediatory, so they have to find their own place and positioning, how the agents can walk in terms between the customers and those service providers. Perhaps that is redefined in the changing context of the global way coming in this industry. So I would like to congratulate Natta for the completion of the 50 years, and today they are celebrating the 51st annual meeting. Wish them all the success, and through Natta I would like to convey the congratulatory note as well as to be mature enough to take the future responsibility in the travel industry of the country, because country and trade is hoping, expecting to uplift the economy of this country by travel and tourism development, travel and tourism industry's contribution to the whole economy. And all the people who are not directly linked to the tourism are looking with hope to your activities, to your leadership, and to your actions. And I express all the best for a report, and we have to come together, as the NTP CEO, Office CEO mentioned, that together we can achieve. And at this point of time, perhaps whatever word we use, strategic alliance, consolidation, complementation, or partnership, this is coming together that makes your effort more solidified within as well as outside. And I wish all the best in the days to come. Thank you very much.
Now, it's the time to present the award for the 25 years of cooperation. To the travel members, I request our chief guest, His Excellency, to present the awards.
President of Natta, Mr. D.B. Limbu, the acting head of the Nepal Tourism Board, Mrs. Nandini Thapa, distinguished representatives of the dais, members of Natta, dear friends. First of all, thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to interact with a group of people who I feel are playing and have played such an important role in the economic development of Nepal. And I think Natta can be proud of its contributions over the last 50 years. For a country like Nepal, which is blessed with beautiful nature, great World Heritage Sites, many important places of pilgrimage in both the Hindu and the Buddhist traditions, there are huge opportunities for the development of tourism. And the advantage of tourism, especially in this day and age, is that it's a pollution-free industry. It's a clean industry. And more important, for a country like Nepal, it's a labor-intensive industry. tourism perhaps is one sector which is far more labor intensive than perhaps other sectors of economic development. So I think there are enough reasons as to why tourism is and should be a key priority sector for Nepal as it achieves its goal of graduating from a least developed country to a developing country status by 2022. In fact, in all our discussions that we've had with officials of the government, with private business people, there are 3 or 4 areas that are always mentioned. You know, the mention of hydropower and agriculture, but tourism always is mentioned as the area with the greatest potential for transforming the economy and the lives of the people. So in our bilateral context, the tourism sector assumes great importance. As the ambassador of India, for me, of course, economic cooperation is very important. But what is particularly attractive about the tourism sector is that it brings peoples together. It brings the peoples of our 2 countries together. And for us, that perhaps is the most important aspect of our relationship. And everything that you do to promote tourism between India and Nepal joins our countries together. So I think the NTB, the ministry, Natta should look at the opportunities that India presents for Nepalese tourism. One of the things from our experience in India I can say with regard to tourism is that branding and marketing is extremely important. I think one of the main areas that we have to focus on is to create greater awareness. And as previous speakers said, you can cater to various niche segments. But I think most important is to create awareness. A couple of years ago, our Ministry of Tourism ran this incredible campaign, Incredible India campaign, which was extremely well received. And the significance of that campaign you can see from the fact that many other countries tended to copy that campaign because it was so successful. But just branding or advertising or creating awareness is not enough. You have to cater to the needs of the tourists. So there's a whole lot of related aspects like infrastructure, hotels, connectivity, all kinds of things that we're working on. Clearly all that is important. But for a country like India, and I don't have the exact figures in terms of how many Indians are traveling abroad, but I know it's in the millions. There is no reason why only some 350,000 or 400,000 tourists from India should come to Nepal. In fact, this is something I just cannot understand. I think one of the reasons could of course be that people are either not aware of the opportunities or that they're looking for something else when they're traveling to Southeast Asia or Europe. But I personally feel Nepal has everything to offer to any Indian tourist, whether it's adventure, nature, mountains, lakes, religious sites, World Heritage Sites, culture. So I hope very much and I look forward to working with the Nepal Tourism Board to promote Nepal in India. Our Prime Minister was here. He has come to Nepal twice in the last few months. And during one of his visits, we signed a very important agreement on tourism promotion between the 2 countries. And while that is an agreement between governments, and while the 2 governments will try to create the necessary infrastructure and facilitate greater interaction in the field of tourism, Most important is the contribution of the tour and travel agents, of Natta and your counterparts in India. The governments can only play the role of a catalyst, but you have to take advantage of the facilities that are being created. We hope very much to have in the near future the first meeting at the government level in terms of how we can implement this agreement to facilitate tourism. But before that meeting, I hope very much that we can organize some brainstorming sessions with the private sector, with the Nepal, with Natta, and bring travel operators from the Indian side. And I think that is what is really going to feed into the discussion at the level of government. So it has to be a private-public partnership model. I don't think governments can really promote tourism. I think that really has to be done by your fraternity. So this year, what we are planning to do is to also organize some tourism and travel marts, where we provide an opportunity for travel agents and travel fraternity in both countries to come together. Because we're also looking for ideas. We need to know from you what we should be doing to facilitate bilateral travel and tourism. One of the ideas mentioned is the leave travel concession scheme, which is offered to government servants in India. I hope very much that it can be extended to Nepal and some of the other SAARC countries. I think that will also provide a huge push, and especially for the sort of middle and lower level segments. But when I was talking about rebranding and I think reference was made to what is the objective. Is it dollar value? Is it numbers? What exactly is the objective? To me, I think Nepal has great potential to attract high value and high spending tourists. And I think that is one segment you certainly need to focus on. The other area, at least from the Indian perspective, is religious tourism. Every Indian wants to come to Pashupatinath or go to Muktinath. Millions of people would like to travel to Janakpur. There's no reason why this shouldn't happen. And I mean, there are certain connectivity, infrastructure and other issues. But this is a huge opportunity over there which you can target. Millions of Buddhist pilgrims are traveling to Lumbini, to Bodh Gaya, Sarnath and other places. How do we link the Buddhist circuit in India with the Buddhist circuit in Nepal so that there can be seamless and hassle-free movement of tourists from one part of the Buddhist circuit to the other? And this is something we can look at. During Prime Minister Modi's visit, we have signed sister city agreements between Kathmandu and Banaras, Kathmandu and Kathmandu, Banaras, Lumbini and Sarnath, and Ayodhya and Janakpur. Now when we talk about sister city agreements, we need to invest these agreements with concrete programs and projects. And virtually everything we do to connect the two cities together is going to promote tourism. So what role can Natta, what ideas can you give us in terms of how to really get these agreements going? Recently we also started a direct bus service. It's a regular bus service now between Kathmandu and Delhi, and bus service is going to start from certain other places as well. But you know, I was shocked to learn that it takes 32 or 33 hours to reach from Kathmandu to Delhi, whereas the distance in terms of kilometers is not so much. So of course infrastructure is an issue which has to be addressed. But at least you have the beginnings of initiatives that will contribute to greater tourism interaction between India and Nepal. So what I would like to assure all of you is that A, this is a high priority sector for cooperation between India and Nepal for the reasons I've explained. And B, we believe that this is something which necessarily requires partnership between the private sector and the government. And C, the third point is that this year we are going to organize in collaboration with your authorities some interactions both between governments and the tourism entrepreneurs in the two countries. I think the most important aspect is for tourism entrepreneurs in the two countries to come together to see how they can take advantage of the great opportunities that exist. So I hope this year we can come up with concrete programs, projects which will impact favorably on the numbers, and instead of 350,000, maybe Natta should set a target of at least trying to get 1 million tourists from India and work towards that end. So I wish you all success in the year ahead. Thank you.
Chief guest, His Excellency, the Ambassador of the Republic of India, Mr. Ranjit Ray, expected high-level tourism technicians from the Ministry of Culture, Tourism and Civilization, respected past presidents, member of the advisory board of Natta, presidents of NMA, NARA, tour guide associations, and Shoto, others, the different associations, presidents or representatives, professionals, colleagues, and representatives from media, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Mr. Chair, for allowing me to go with the vote of thanks. On behalf of Nepal Associations of Tour and Travel Agents, Natta, I would first of all like to extend our heartfelt thanks and gratitude to His Excellency, the Ambassador of India, Mr. Ranjit Ray, for having kindly accepting our invitations to grace this occasions as chief guest. Your Excellency, we are indebted to your good self for the inaugurations and for your most inspiring deliberations. Similarly, Natta, sincere thanks are due to General Secretary, Treasurer of PATA, Mr. Basanta Mishra, Natta past President, Mr. T. Chandra Pokhriyal, Amrita Shrestha, Mr. Balavikram Thapa, Mr. Arjun Sharma, and other past presidents of Nepal Association of Tour and Travel in Natta. Similarly, Nepal Chamber of Commerce, Mr. Rajesh Kani Shrestha, President of Mount Training Associations of Nepal, and all others presidents from different associations. So, honorary life member of Natta, currently an advisor of the associations, former secretaries of the government of Nepal, and former CEO of NTV, who is also popularly known as Tourism Wizard, has been kind enough to focus on the tourism potential of Nepal and Natta's role in showcasing them in the international markets. Natta has always been receiving the best of cooperations and support from Madam Nandini Thapa. So we are really very thankful to you, Madam, for your encouraging support for Nepal tourism and Natta as well. Last but not the least, Natta has been able to retain its glory of the past only because of the active support, full cooperations, and suggestions being received by our secretaries from time to time. Sir, thank you so much for your valuable participations in Natta's program. So I would like to rather be emote this on our part if we fail to recognize the creative idea and contributions of the media representatives. We look forward to opportunity where we can meet and share our thought. Thank you all